Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Standards Education Talk. My name is Natasha Tai, and I'll be your host for today. So today's topic is how to choose the right curriculum for your child. And joining us is Mr. Richard Vanderpyl and Mr. Daniel Schick. So would you guys like to introduce yourselves?
Hi, good afternoon. Richard Vanderpyl, very blessed to be the head of school here at Christian Alliance International School.
And my name is Daniel Schick, and I am a high school assistant principal, and I'm trained as a literature teacher, and I enjoy very much talking about curriculum matters. So looking forward to this very much.
Thank you. So I'd like to first start off by examining Hong Kong education in general. So obviously, Hong Kong schools provide both local and international education. So what are some differences between the both of them?
Well, I think there's something that we do have in common between local and international schools, and that would be is we want our students to excel. And that's a given for whatever system. But there are some very real advantages and distinctives of an international education. For me, one of the greatest ones is that it's, in a sense, the world has come into the school. So we have students from many nationalities, we have teachers from many nationalities who are teaching the students. So that gives the students a very global perspective on the curriculum. It's really exciting to think that if we're talking about an event that occurred in South Africa, it's actually being taught by a South African teacher who can give his or her perspective on that. I think other advantages and other distinctives, our facilities tend to be very much more modern, much more spacious, very high tech in terms of the facilities. I think another key difference is for international schools, it's often our approach to learning. We don't subscribe to a didactic, which is a very teacher-directed, teacher-centered education. It's very much a dialogue between the teacher and the student. And we really want a type of discussion, inquiry-based, questioning, those sorts of things. And I think for me, the other major distinctive is that we all know that assessment is important for students, but it's the journey towards that assessment. In some schools, it is very assessment-driven. That is the whole focus of their teaching. But for us, assessment is the end point. It's the journey to get there. So I think for me, those are some of the differences between a local and an international education.
And Daniel, is there anything you'd like to add? Or?
Well, certainly we do welcome a lot of local students into our school. And so, as Richard said, it's very nice to see, just as our staff is a nice combination of international staff. I come from Canada, Richard from New Zealand, and our staff come from all over the world. And as well, we have excellent staff from Hong Kong as well. And so too, our students are very international. So it is really a place for our students to gather. And we're very proud of the curriculum and the programs that we run at CAIS. And certainly all of our students are welcome here.
Thank you. So it sounds very vibrant and all-encompassing, but are there specific types of students that are more suitable for international education specifically?
Well, I would say that certainly all students are welcome. We do have an international community, and that is one of the things for students who want to start to broaden their horizons a little bit in their studies. You don't necessarily need to wait for university to start doing that. And so, first of all, students are students. And if they engage in inquiry, discussion, like to debate and discuss and actively participate in their learning, then they will find a home at CAIS. There is a technical answer to that question, though, as well. If you understand the Hong Kong education system, you know that universities here, they take applicants called by JUPAS or non-JUPAS streams. And so some local parents understand that having your education through an international school system does give them a little bit of an advantage through the non-JUPAS applications when they're applying to universities in Hong Kong. So that is one of the reasons why some parents may certainly be considering international schools, which is for university applications. But high school is not just a means to an end. University is not the ultimate destination. We want to shape students We want to shape not just their heads and what they learn, but also their hearts, and we want to send them as ambassadors. So it really is about the journey in their learning as they move along, and we send them forth to university. So we certainly do treasure having students from the local system. We enjoy welcoming them into the school and seeing them grow and just discussing with them where they might go forward after high school.
And given that I believe most Hong Kong fans may be more familiar with the local education system, are there any common questions or concerns that you would get regarding international school or how the system works?
Yes, I think this is an interesting question because it really does come down to, it is seen as a choice. I have a choice between this school or that school, this curriculum or that curriculum. And I would say that one of the things we are most tremendously proud of at Christian Alliance International School is within our school, the choice that is afforded to the students. So at our school, we have the Canadian Alberta Diploma. And it's a very highly regarded curriculum. In fact, it's taught globally around the world, not just in Canada. And students who study in the Alberta program, they can also, in the higher years, add on advanced placement. Now, the AP is through the United States College Board, and students who do AP courses, well, they're really showing a high level of university preparedness. In fact, they're already gaining credits for university courses as they go through the AP program. So the combination of the Alberta curriculum and the AP additional options for the students is a chance for them to showcase their academic ability and also for them just to learn more widely in the high school level rather than having to wait till they get to university. At the same time, we have the IB program. And the diversity between these three curriculums, Alberta, advanced placement, and IB, is really unparalleled in other schools in Hong Kong. So students that come to CAIS are given this flexibility. And the question then becomes within our school, which program and which path do we study? And so that's a really interesting one to work through with our students and to advise them as well.
Thank you. So how can parents and students determine which curriculum is the most suitable? Because of course, every student has to choose a curriculum at one point, and probably every parent stresses about which curriculum their child would choose.
Yes.
So when should they start considering which curriculum, and how would you suggest they approach that?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Natasha. And I think for me, choosing a curriculum, I think the first step before that is actually choosing a school. And in many ways, when parents are looking at a school, they think about their son, they think about their daughter, and the type of education they want, the type of environment they want as well. So the first thing they start to look at is, what type of school do I want my child to be educated in? Second to that is often then the curriculum. You see, one of the amazing things for an international school is that we have a lot of flexibility, a lot of freedom to choose the curriculum. Now, curriculum is not just the content, it's not just the knowledge, it's how we teach the curriculum. It's what we put inside the curriculum as well. So I'll give you an example here at Christian Alliance International School. As Daniel has said, we do the Alberta curriculum, we do the IB curriculum, we do the advanced placement. Now the Alberta one, we've included into that in grades 7, 8 and 9, compulsory leadership courses. Now that's really interesting, isn't it? You know, that we introduce leadership. It's not part of the Alberta curriculum, but we believe that it's important. So the freedom for an international school to say, we want students in this school to become leaders in the future. And so that's why we have put that in. And I think parents, when they're looking at a school and the type of curriculum, don't just go, is it IB? Or is it the GCSE curriculum or whatever it is? But what's included in the curriculum? What are the subjects that the school teaches? Because for us as a Christian school, we also have Christian ethics and learning Christian principles and those things. That's important for us. Do you know that parents should even consider how many hours does the school devote to mathematics or science? Because some will go, that's all that's important. We are not going to do physical education, or maybe it's just 1 hour a week. Whereas we believe the whole child development. So parents should consider that when choosing a curriculum there. I think the style of curriculum will determine the way that it is taught as well. And so IB, as Daniel has talked about, has a very inquiry-based, it's very self-directed. Will my child survive in that? Will my child be able to be self-motivated to do the work, or do they need a little bit of pushing, and therefore maybe a more structured curriculum is better for them? So I think that's a part of that. I think, you asked the question, what should parents be thinking about when choosing the curriculum and the type of curriculum? Ask yourself this question: is it internationally recognized? So is this curriculum, is it just a very local one, or is it, a very small one, or is it known around the world, like IB, like AP, like Alberta curriculum as well? So I think, those are some of the factors that parents should think about when they are choosing a curriculum, but more importantly, choosing the school in which that curriculum will be taught.
And I guess another common concern would be whether or not their chosen curriculum would affect their child's pursuit of higher education. So what are your thoughts regarding this question?
Well, I think it's interesting when we look at the continuum of studying that we undertake in our lifetime. Certainly as we're younger, it's a lot broader. I think it was around grade 10 when I realized I wasn't going to be a math teacher. And then when you go to university, you specialize, don't you? And so there's this idea of university preparedness. At what point is the child ready to start to begin their specialization? And so, as I was saying before, since it's a learning journey, not every student is at the exact same place at the exact same age. And so I'll just use a little story here that our IB coordinator likes to tell. It's the story of two artists. Now, he's an art teacher and very passionate about art, and he likes to talk about Michelangelo and Da Vinci, two both artistic geniuses. Now, I can't vouch for the historical accuracy of the statement, but I think it's used as just a depiction of profiles. You will have one artist, Da Vinci, and very structured. The workspace is tidy. Everything is clean, neat, and structured, and this is the way he thrives. Then there's an artist like Michelangelo, no less the genius. When inspiration strikes, it can be a little messy. There's passion and color, and when he maybe shows up to the event, there's still paint under his fingernails. Now, I think our IB coordinator likes to say the Da Vinci is IB ready because of the level of structure and the self-directed study that those students are being asked to do. That student is IB ready. But the other part of it is that students aren't all ready at the same time. And so every student has, like these artists, their own niche. So if a student is wanting to learn, better organization skills, if they're wanting to learn how they can be more effective in their studies, how they can structure and learn better with others, then these are students who will grow into their own right through their studies. But as our students develop these skills, the knowledge, integrity, discernment, and skills, which is part of our mission statement at CAIS, there is this element of university preparedness, and when they're starting to choose their prerequisites. So advising them for higher studies, as you've said, is really about making sure that all of our students and their families have access to our career counselor and academic advisors. And they meet together early on to look at the programs. What kind of prerequisites would I need for this type of study? What universities should I be considering, and what is available to me? So this kind of academic counseling is really instrumental to enabling the students to discover opportunities maybe that they hadn't considered before. And there really is no limit to university acceptance in any one curriculum at CAIS. For example, last year, our graduates, who all graduated with the Alberta diploma, and our IB students are coming up now, our last year's graduates, over 90% of the students studied overseas. Now, it's not always necessarily that high, but that's what we saw with them last year. So we know that preparing them for university is making sure that they are successful within their chosen curriculum, but also that they're not missing out on the wider student profile. Universities will look more than just what curriculum did you study. They will look for their leadership, their involvement in the school community and life. And so that's where the curriculum sits within the community, as do the students, and we work together to give them the opportunities.
Oh, that sounds lovely. So now I'd like to focus a bit more on the Christian Alliance International School, because it's your school.
Absolutely.
So your school offers 3 different curricula: the International Baccalaureate, the Alberta program, and the advanced placement courses. So what exactly made you choose these 3 qualification pathways as an option for your students?
Well, I think for us, we know one thing, in that not every child is identical, are they? You know, your son is different to someone else's son. Your daughter is different to another parent's daughter. So we want to make sure that the type of curriculum we offer can meet the needs of the particular student and their learning need or for their aspirations. So I think that's one of the key reasons why we offer the Alberta, which is rigorous, it's very solid, it will allow them to go anywhere in the world, and it has a particular style with a focus on Canadian history, those things. So, you know, there are families who are considering going to Canada. This is a great opportunity for them, for their child to be educated with the Alberta curriculum as they then immigrate to Canada. The advanced placement is again, world recognized for university entrance. And so we want to challenge the students and give those who are really strongly academic an opportunity not only do the Alberta, but add on to it the AP. So it's an extra challenge for those particular students. But the last one that we've introduced is the IB curriculum. Again, that is so recognized around the world. It truly is a global passport as a curriculum. So whether you go to America or you go to Prague, it doesn't matter, they will recognize the IB. And the style of teaching is one that for some students it really pushes them and makes it really exciting for them.
So besides these 3 curricula allowing your students to achieve academic success, you also mentioned exploring different life skills and interests through like workshops and ensuring that your students get a full experience. So can you talk in specifics how exactly you do that?
Sure. Well, first of all, these decisions aren't made in a vacuum. Everything is in relation to other people, certainly with our students and parents. So our school is a warm, welcoming, inviting place, and we just love to have the students in, the parents come in, so we can host things like career nights, like parent information sessions. During parent-teacher interviews that we had earlier this year, we welcomed the parents in so we could talk to them a little bit about the curriculum pathways. It's good for parents to understand things like the Alberta curriculum. How would I regard this if I'm not an expert in curriculum matters? So if you take a look at something like the PISA test, which is a global test done all around the world, it's interesting to see how the Alberta, specifically the Canadian curriculum, is the only English-speaking top 10 ranking in the world. And certainly within the Canadian curriculum, which is provincial, Alberta is at the highest end. It is an extremely rigorous curriculum. So there we have a top achieving curriculum, and it actually has some similarities in a content-rich curriculum with a fairly traditional, so for example in literature, a fairly traditional style that local students find it somewhat transferable to their style of learning. And so it is nice when you talk to the parents and they feel more comfortable when they're well informed of the decisions that they're making. But when it comes to students on site, a curriculum is something that doesn't just happen within the 4 walls of that classroom over there. We run programs for well-being for students. One of them is called PACT, a Pastoral and Advisory Care Team. And it's really nice because every day the students gather together for 20 minutes and they're just a little community together with a teacher. They have activities to promote school spirit. And it's just one of those wraparound supports where students are doing so much more than just a chosen curriculum within the school, but they're actually just have that sense of belonging, as a member of Christian Alliance International School. And there's just so much more there. For example, if a student is in the IB program, I am the IB Extended Essay Coordinator. And when they're writing their extended essay, we match the student to a supervisor. So the support that you're asking about is there because the students aren't just left to struggle along on their own, writing a 4,000-word essay over the course of a year. That sounds terrible. But actually, a student might be writing in physics, which I'm not an expert in. But as they meet together with the physics teacher who is passionate about that, the student does a little bit of their own teaching. This is what I'm learning about. And they have a really nice exchange where the supervisor is there to support the student in their learning. And so it's just so important that the students have those supports as they progress through the different curriculums.
Thank you. So I'd like to ask, are there any closing remarks or anything else you'd like to add on?
Yeah, I think, Natasha, curriculum is really important, isn't it? It's important for parents because parents are going, what will my child learn and how will they learn? And those are really important questions because we know that when children are happy at school, they learn really, really well. So for us here at Christian Alliance International School, we don't see curriculum as just being the narrow amount of knowledge that they learn, what's in the textbook. That's only a small part of the curriculum. For us, when we consider curriculum, it is even how do we lay out the desks in a classroom? Are they all in single file? Sadly, they are at the moment because of COVID. But generally, they're in groups, and so that facilitates discussions, and that's the style of teaching we want. We consider how our teachers teach. We want them moving around the classroom, not up the front. So curriculum, you can see, is really, really big. But I think for a student who comes to Christian Alliance International School, when it comes to the curriculum, we want the curriculum to achieve three purposes. We want the child to learn for understanding. So the curriculum needs to teach knowledge, absolutely. They need to learn about the stars. They need to learn about nature. They need to learn the Pythagoras and all of these sorts of things. So there is what we call learning for understanding because they need to know things. But it doesn't stop there. And for many schools, that's where it stops. Learn everything, regurgitate it at a test, and that's a successful curriculum. It is not. So they learn knowledge, but we also want them to learn for appreciation. We just want them to love learning. I often use the example of a musician. A musician has to learn music. They have to learn how to read the score. They have to learn the instrument. But if they are doing that without any joy, that's a really difficult time for them, isn't it? A musician wants to love what they are doing. And we want our students to do the same. In the curriculum, we want them to enjoy and appreciate so that when they learn about trees or nature, they can go out and go, wow, look at it. I just appreciate it. But the third one for me is very important. At Christian Alliance International School, we want our students to respond and to do something with what they are learning. So we want to challenge them for service learning. Use the things you are learning to help others. Use the things you are learning to improve society. Use the things that you are loving to learn about and share it with others. So learning for understanding, learning for appreciation, and learning for responsive action. I think that's an important part of the curriculum we deliver.
And finally, because I know there's definitely going to be many, how can interested parents and students contact you guys?
Well, we would love to hear from you. So yes, if you are interested in a wonderful, and seriously, I have 4 children. Now they're all grown up, but I can tell you that if they were of school age, I would enroll them at Christian Alliance International School because I believe in what the school offers. So for us as a Christian school, we offer a really solid Christian education in 3 curriculum areas, IB, diploma, the Alberta diploma, and also advanced placement. So if you are interested, just contact us. We've got an amazing admissions team. Maggie Chan Lee and her staff are just wonderful. contact the school, look at our school website, ring the school, and we would love to talk and hear from you.
All right, then. Thank you, Richard, and thank you, Daniel. That is incredibly insightful. And thank you, audience, for joining us today. We hope to see you again. Goodbye.